We're very happy when this artist agreed to join us on the show. He's had a fantastic career in dance, working with the likes of Christina Aguilera, Brandy, Ricky Martin, Destiny's Child, and touring with Janet Jackson during her Velvet Rope tour back in the late 90s. Robert Vinson, welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Glad to be on.
Awesome. I'm so happy. You joined us briefly for an interview we did several weeks back with Mike Andrews, and now we're happy to talk to you exclusively about your career. And so thank you for doing this.
You're very, very welcome.
Awesome. So I'll start off by asking, with regards to dance, did you know as a kid that was a career you were headed towards, or did you fall into it?
No, I just fell into it. It was pretty much like a runaway mechanism.
So how did you get your, did you go to dance class, or were you found in the clubs? Like, what happened?
No, actually, I started in high school. A group of guys it was a guy that used to hang around the lunch table making sounds on the table and people beatboxing around. And one of the guys turned around and said, "Hey, we're a pretty good crew. Hey, I was thinking about doing this dance competition thing. Will you guys be interested in doing?" And I said, "Yeah." I had no idea I could dance, but I told him, yeah, anyway.
So what happened, with regards to that? So you did the dance competition, and then did you start taking class, or?
No, I'm pretty much self-taught. I taught myself how to dance. When it came to techniques, I just add certain dancers for if it was considered jazz or some contemporary thing. I just would ask, how does that move work? And they just give me the basics, and I just go home and practice. With the dance competition thing, we had a little bunch of runaround because it was a new group. The group was called the Teasers, not with a Z, not an S. And we wore sombreros and waiter attire.
Nice.
And we went down there, and the one company didn't want us to be on stage, so we went to another production, and we wind up battling top dance groups at the time, and we wound up winning that competition.
Now, what would you say was your first big break? How did you start to get known as a dancer around Los Angeles?
My big break was when I was 18. I was actually dancing with a dancer who danced with Madonna, Oliver Crooms. And we did a video together. It was an artist by the name of Desiree Coleman, who was founded by Patti LaBelle. And the background vocals was the Vert family, Gerald LeVert Vert family. So they hired us dancers to sing, lip sing the background. So it was the first time they actually hired what they would call street dancers versus some technical jazz company that would imitate like there was street dancers. So that was a big break.
And so what happened after that?
Then after that, I thought it was a fun thing to do, and I started to pursue it a little bit and got a few gigs dancing with local artists and little small artists and other videos at this time.
And so what year would that have been, after the thing with Oliver?
During the time of the dinosaurs roaming. No, that was about, I landed the video in 1988. And then I started moving around, actually performing a lot in Japan and in LA. At the time when we went to Japan was just known for locking, breaking, and popping. And me and my friend were the first couple of guys who went over there who actually taught them how to dance hip-hop.
And what was it like being over in Japan? Because I know from what I've read and seen for years, the Japanese culture loves American hip-hop culture.
Yeah, they do. During the time, it was they didn't understand it, but going over there performing doing the hip-hop, they loved it. They would just idolize anybody. Because I brought it over there, they would try to dress and look like me. So it was when they like something, they will really love it.
Now, I remember when you were on the show with Mike, you mentioned that you met Janet well before you started to dance with her. So how did that come about? What year did you meet her, and how did that end up happening that you met her?
I met Janet in 1991, I should say. And so you just Bill Rope in 98, so Janet 91. So it was a friend of mine. His name was Jazzy, who was friends with Renee. And Renee wanted to meet me because he heard about me because of my freestyle dancing in the circles all the time. And my friend Jazzy said, "Hey, Rob, Renee want to meet you." And I said, "Okay, good." And then one day, out of the blue, Renee and Jazzy thought it'd be a good idea to meet Janet. And I was like, meet who? Janet Jackson. I was like, nah, you're kidding me. You're pulling my leg. And so they said, yeah. So Jazzy drove me over to their Malibu house. We walked in. I'm nervous. My heart is racing. You know, watched all these videos on there. So on the TV, you're like, I'm about to be Janet Jackson. And my mom was happy, and she was like excited too. So we sat there. Janet comes down. Janet is shaking. And I'm like, looking at her like, why is she shaking? And I'm shaking. And she goes, nice to meet you, Oliver. Nice to meet you, Jan. I said, why are you more nervous than I am? She said, from a dancer perspective, you're known as a dancer. And so when another dancer meets someone with high quality as you, that's the nerve comes from. And I'm like, oh. So she was looking at me more of a, like, I'm a famous dancer, and here's this famous Janet Jackson thing going on. And I was like, it was kind of weird. I didn't expect that because I didn't see myself as a famous person. I just loved what I did.
That's awesome. And so that would have been like 91, you said that you met her?
Yeah.
Was there an opportunity for you to get on the Janet tour, or were they already sort of, because I know she recorded the album in sort of 92 and obviously toured in 93. Was there talks of you being a part of that tour?
Yeah, the thing was this. There was actually it was a Japanese artist who was really close to Janet and Renee. And the deal was I will work for the Japanese artist until Janet's ready to go on tour. And I said, okay, deal. So at that time, this is going to be kind of funny. It's kind of funny. So anyway, at that time, I was dancing with the Japanese artist. That was over. So Janet Kemp called me and said, hey, Rob, where are you? We're having this audition process in 93 for the Janet tour. Janet would like you to be down here. And I told him, I actually told him no.
Whoa!
I said, no, I'm not going to come down here right now. You know, say, why? It's just the audition. I was like, because at the time, what it was this. This was my dream. My dream was to dance for Janet Jackson, of course. But my dream wasn't fulfilled at that time. It wasn't like, I'm not ready for the world. That's what I was saying to myself. Meaning, like, when the world do see me, it's going to be explosive. So at the time, I wasn't ready for Janet.
Wow.
I was nervous. I think my techniques and skills to be born for Janet wasn't at this level where I wanted to be at. So I stepped back because I didn't want to be on the tour without being ready. That's
amazing, Rob. That's like such a mature stance to take, because I think a lot of people have been like, forget it, fake it till you make it, I'm going.
Right. And I completely waited. I mean, they called me 3 times. Rob, we're doing callback. Why? At least come hang out. I was like, no. I can't do it because I didn't want control. I just didn't want to embarrass myself by having them going, Rob, oh man, I really would love to have you, but is there a possibility that you can take like this type of class or this type of class and, you know, whatever. So you're like, I'm not ready.
Wow.
I'm so not ready. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is so cool to know that you actually took a step back and kept sort of learning and then growing. That's fantastic. I love that story. When it came to, so then, you know, obviously a couple years go by and she does the Janet tour, and then, you know, Design of a Decade come out, doesn't really tour that, does the Runaway video. How did you then get, did they come back to you again in 97 for Velvet Rope?
Well, what they did was, actually what happened was, to go back to the video shoot Runaway, was they had this other guy who was going to be in the video, but he wasn't available. So the best person they called was like, well, since Rob didn't do the tour or the audition, let's give Rob a try and have Rob do Runaway. And it was like, sure, because by this time, I have advanced. My techniques are getting better. I'm a little bit more freer. My freestyle become more powerful. So they called me up and say, hey, Rob, Janet would like to hire you to do this Runaway. Are you available? And I was like, yeah, I'm available. So I had to go to that Van Nuys hangar airport area, and they dressed me all up in all this African attire. And then that's when I sat there, and then it was really, really crazy. They're building this wall, and Janet's right in the middle, and they built this wall so the people on the other side wouldn't be a distraction to me. And I didn't understand what they were doing. I thought they were just doing it for the camera So there was Janet, and then it's like how the Velvet Rope, when the book opened up, it was just like that too. Janet sitting in the chair and the wall. And then Janet asked, "Do you mind if I watch?" I said, "Oh, no problem." So, so it felt like I'm freestyling for Janet. And that's my audience.
Wow.
And I did it, and all of a sudden they said, "Okay, go." Most of the time they'll say, "Okay, cut." Director say, "Cut." They play the whole song, and it was like, "Oh, So Janet said, "Rob, do you mind doing it again?" I said, "Sure." Did it again, all the way through it. They was like, "I think we got more than enough." And normally you're used to hearing, "All right, cut." No, they didn't say cut. They was like, "Are you tired?" I was like, "No, I'm not tired." It was like, "You can do it again?" I said, "Yeah." They was like, "Wow, this is amazing." So by this time, on the other side of the wall was all the dancers, every production, extra faces I didn't know, watching the TV screen, watching me freestyle. Wow. And it was just like dumbfounded. Like, when you walked in, everybody got that big bully eyes, they stare at you. And I was like, "What are they looking at? You crazy." Well, they were just amazed because they're like, "We finally get to see Rob Vinson do this freestyle. And man, how did he just, his creativity mindset is like crazy." So that's what set me off, that I knew, okay, if Janet wanted me to come on the Velvet Rope tour, then I would say yes. Because by that time, if you have Janet Jackson staring like, and just wouldn't take her eyes and just dump like that stare of like, wow, you're ready.
Nice.
That's what I knew I was ready.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic. And was that the first time then that you met, Tina and Kelly and Nikki and all the other dancers that were sort of part of Janet's hardcore four? Well,
I knew Kelly way before that. We did a movie in Canada before Kelly came to LA. I knew Kelly. I knew Nikki since she was 16 years old. We used to do Young MC together.
Nice.
And that's the first time I met Shawnette, in the other camp. I already knew Omar. As a matter of fact, before Omar started dancing for Janet, we was all talking about, by this time, we're all like, kind of like family. I think we were building that friendship family at this time. And we were just talking about artists and dancers. And I remember I brought up Salt and Pepper. They said, "What?" I said, have you guys seen Salt and Pepper dancers? And everyone was like, no, what about them? I said, "You got to see these guys. They have this flamboyant movement they do, and it's just like incredible. It's not like over the top, but the choreography is like completely amazing." And Omar was dancing for Salt and Pepper at the time. And that's when the attention to Omar, Salt and Pepper dancers started to get popular and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what made Omar stand out more. When
you finished the Runaway thing, obviously then I guess the year went by and stuff. So did you have to really audition for Velvet Rope, or did they just sort of call you up and you were in?
My dream, of course, was I want to work with the most powerful artists without auditioning. And this time, instead of dancers calling me, Janet called me direct and said, "Hey, Rob, just want to let you know, you don't have to audition. We know you well enough to know that you can do almost anything. And just come down to the callback to support." Now, when I got that phone call, agencies around LA was not happy. They was just down. They was just belittling me left and right. Well, Rob probably did it for a pay cut. Rob did this. Rob did that. I literally, when I walked, one guy had like a big long speech about me. And when I walked in the facility, wherever he was, he will go home because he thought I was going to confront him or embarrass him in front of everybody. That's not my character. Nope. My character is to make you shock, into shock when you see me perform.
And so yeah. when you walked into the callback, where had they sort of whittled down to a fair amount at that point? Like, did they kind of have their ideas? Yeah. Okay.
They had their ideas. I walked in, I was kind of nervous. I was like, wow, I got a call. Wow, Janet called me and said I don't have to audition. Woo, okay. And I felt uncomfortable because it was like, I'm no dancer looking at me like, who's that? I don't know him. I've never seen him dance in no dance studio. Who's that? It must be some street dancers. How that bickering was all around me. Mm-hmm. And that's when. And during that time, my favorite person, of course, was Gil. When we first saw Gil, when Gil started auditioning, and of course, Mike Andrew too stood out too.
when you guys like, what was the process of sort of knowing that final 8 then? Like, was there already a lock kind of thing? Like, I'm assuming like you were a lock basically, and like, you know, Kelly had already danced with her for years. Were there any surprises? I guess Gil and Mike maybe?
Gil was a surprise. They loved Gil because you know, he was young, he was alive. Every move he hit, he was like clean. You're like, I like that guy. You know, we really liked Gil. And then Mike stood out because he had the jazz background, but he also do hip hop. So he was a good blend too. And I think they were pretty much finding somebody like, you know, who can blend in with Rob and then Gil. You know, blend between Gil and Rob. And of course you have Keith Fiorio, whatever you want to call him, or whatever you choose to be called at the time. And then, you know, and they left the last men open, because what happened was there was another gentleman they wanted to ask, and they asked my opinion about him, and I told them, like, you want to go with someone who was more accountable. And so that's when they gave Mike a try. Because we was going back and forth with Mike. And so then he decided to go with Mike. And I said, good, because Mike was young, similar age as Gil. And he's, you know, of course, what we call hungry.
Mm-hmm.
He was starving. And it looked like he was starving. So we was like, look at him. He looked like he wants a picnic basket. So
that's fantastic.
Don't tell him. I know Mike's going to laugh when he hear that. And so that's how they formed us. Mike, me, Keith, and Gil.
Wow. And
as for the, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. And for the girls, yep. Mm-hmm.
And as for the girl, Kelly, Nikki, and Tina and Shawnette already danced for Janet. So they really, I think they were looking for outskirt to stand out. I think they were looking for people like, if someone can outdo Nikki or Kelly or Shawnette, of course they're not going to outdo Tina, yeah, we'll consider them. But at the time, it was like, whatever. And so at the time, my kind of like favorite person was Teresa Espinosa. So that's how Teresa landed, because we was all in a nightclub. You know, I used to teach Teresa how to battle guys in a circle to take them and embarrass them. So of course you're going to get Teresa.
That's awesome. And she did such a great job as swing. Like, she just would roll in there and kill it.
And then yes, exactly. And then when I hurt my knee, she had like a month or 2 months worth of dancing work. So
wow, that's crazy. And so when you guys all came together for that first rehearsal, the 8 of you plus Janet, what was that like? Was there like ridiculous energy in the room?
I think for more of the girls, it was more like new blood, because it was like new guys. All new guys. You know, it was like something I don't think they really focused on too many guys on the tour before like that, besides Rhythm Nation, but It's been a while, I guess. And I think they was way excited for that. So the energy level like increased. I already knew Kelly and Nikki, you know, first time meeting Shawnette, you know, and I already knew Tina Landon. So I was getting better to knowing Tina Landon. So that grew. And so then once we started, it was like, you know, and I had to take notes because of Tina Landon, because someone warned me, you know, street knowledge people was like, oh, dude, be careful with Tina Landon. She's going to be drilling you with your dance moves. I was like, what? So that was the only information someone told me on the outside. Dude, do your move, but be clean and don't argue with Tina, because she sees it way better than you would have, you know.
Wow. So. Mama Bear Landon.
Yeah, she was. I mean, they had a thing, like, they used to think that I was like this mean, like, I was going to be like, big outburst if you correct me. Rob, can you raise your hand just a little bit higher? A little bit higher? What? This is uncomfortable. You know, and I never had that instructor, because I never danced in the studio. I wasn't raised in the studio.
Okay.
So I didn't know the structures of, you know, points and turns and how many turns and spotting. You're like, what? It's language you're speaking.
Wow, that's crazy. And when you guys were learning the choreography, what was your favorite piece for the Velvet Rope tour? Because there was so many amazing standout songs there, from the older material to the newer stuff. Like, did you enjoy like when they were created "Got Till It's Gone," for example?
Yeah, I love "Got Till It's Gone." I love what came up with that choreography. It was really subtle, and how the movement was flowing, very like Gil's like Hawaiian kind of feel, water, wind and water. So I love when he did Got This Gone, but my favorite one was Together Again. I love when that was created.
Tell us why.
Well, because it was, first, Janet always have movements to her project. So this one was for the AIDS victim in Africa. Mm-hmm. And because that movement made me, it was for a cure. So it was, that movement made it way shiny. It just made me feel good. It was a happy song. There was great hope to come out of this. So that's why I love that song. There's great hope coming out of that song.
Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is dancer and choreographer Rob Vinson. Make sure you follow him on Instagram at Rob2, and that's 5 R's OB2. Talk to us about when Tina came in and said, we're going to add some martial arts weapons to Rhythm Nation, and then whipped out the nunchucks. Were you guys like super excited, or were you worried you were going to take yourselves out? I wasn't. I knew nunchucks already, but I wasn't quite sure what the material was going to be like. But we was excited to learn. I was excited. I was like, oh man, and fair enough. I don't think no one dropped their nunchucks. Out of all the shows, no one dropped their nunchucks. That's awesome. And was it crazy in rehearsal with you guys trying to learn? Like, I'd heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard like Janet almost took herself out once and then sort of backed off for a couple of shows.
Yes. We was like, of course, dancers need money, so we're like, no, don't kill yourself, Yes. I forgot about that part. Yeah, she nearly clocked herself, and we was like, oh man, like thank goodness it wasn't us that did it. So we were like, whoo, man, but we felt bad. I think we had to take a break for a while until things got until everyone calmed down or whatever. Because as dancers you get nervous because the artist goes down. Tour's over. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And when it came to because you guys had these amazing props like the martial arts weapons, of course the skateboards and you, what was it like sort of running around in that leotard with the double face masks and skateboards?
Oh, why you bring that up? Oh, that was not my favorite outfit.
I'm sure not.
So they convinced me. There was two things that was going on. First of all, they brought in that thing called the dance belt. I don't know what that is, and I never seen it and never will wear it. And so that was one issue with that because I was like, I didn't know what to do with it. I see Gil jumping up and down with joy because that's what he learned and that's what he wore. He was used to that. And I was like, I didn't understand this outfit. So that's number one. Number two, they told me that we were going to wear velvet rope pants on top of that. So they had to trick me to wear that into the concert. So the day, they got me good. They was like, we wore the velvet pants. Run through, we wore the velvet pants. The whole entire time, I think the dancers knew, but they didn't tell me because they knew I would be very uncomfortable. And it was like during showtime, they laid it out. I put it on. Oh, where's the pants? What pants, Rob? What pants are you talking about? I said, no. I did not. Oh, man. It took me a while to go, dun, 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 dun. I don't like this, dun, dun, dun. This is killing me, dun, dun, dun. I don't like them, dun, 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 dun. Oh, my heart would race. I was sweating inside that mask because I was uncomfortable wearing that one piece.
Oh, my God. And how, when you guys finished, were you able to take it off? Because then I think you guys came back out in dress pants again, right, for the nasty section?
Yeah, no. So once you had to zip that out, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we had to go right into another one piece because right after that was that wasn't a whimsical, right? No. I'm mixed up. It's been a while. Yeah. We had to take that off and wear dress pants. Yes, right. That's right.
Okay.
Right.
And what was it like to do those quick changes? Because I remember once, don't ask me why I decided to do this, but I decided to time one of your quick changes, and I think you guys were back out in less than 96 seconds or something. It was crazy. So what was it like to do the quick changes?
That was a fun test. You had to run. Of course, do run throughs. You have to run through it and you go, all right, go get dressed and come back on stage and do as fast as you can. So then what has to happen? They have to lay your clothes out in a certain pattern. One person likes to put on their pants before their shirt, or you put your shirt and vest on at the same time, and then pull your pants up. Some people who had a hard time changing, they'll say if it takes too long, just zip the top part down and fold the arm into your pants. So you had options.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot
but
going
it was fast. It was like the first thing you do when you run on stage, so they pass that line that no one can see you, you're getting naked.
Wow.
You jump back in, you jump back on.
What's the wackiest thing that ever happened to you on stage, like during the Velvet Rope, whether it was you or one of your fellow dancers?
Falling down and laughing hysterically because you're so embarrassed that you stepped on someone's foot and you're falling down. One of my wacky moments was I injured my knee, and I was trying to compete with Mike and Tice because they were really flexible. They used to hold their leg up high, and I try to be them, and I ripped my meniscus.
Oh no!
And then went to the ground, and I finished the routine. But the funny part was, I was still doing a routine as I was leaving the stage with one leg and arms are moving, and we just had a ball laughing at me. Rob is really doing the choreography, leaving the stage so he won't look horrible, and he's in pain.
Oh my God! So that's when you were out for a month?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Where did that happen? Were you in the U.S. or another country?
It was in the UK.
Okay.
And they told me I should find another profession because I tore my ACL and ripped my meniscus. So I was like, oh, and then came to the LA doctor laughed and said, what? And he said, well, he didn't explain to you that the MRI, their job, that machine job is to detect anything wrong in your body, even if it's a tiny hair of a tear in any muscle group or whatever. So you have a tear. Yes, you do have a tear, but it's so tiny, it's like a hangnail. And he said you strained your ACL, but you did rip your meniscus. So, but it's not the end of the world. You can do surgery, or you don't need the surgery.
Okay.
So that made me better. So
awesome. So you rested up for a month and then were able to get back out there.
Well, I still had to be on a UK tour. I still had to be accountable because I still doing my job. For the first week, I was able to stand and watch the show. So my job was to take the notes. Okay. Who looked messed up, who needs to do what. So they switched my position for a week. And then I started gradually doing 1 number, 2 number, 3 numbers. So.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. And with regards to, when you guys taped the HBO special, so many of us obviously have that on DVD, the Madison Square Garden show from October of 98. Can you take us back to that day? You'd already been out on tour for many months. Were you guys nervous knowing it was going to be a live show, or just excited, or was it just sort of like another day at the office?
Well, it was another day in the office, but I kept pumping myself up. My words was, I'm going to be big, muscle-wise. I'm going to be live on HBO, and I'm going to shock the world. That's all I kept saying. That's all I kept saying the whole entire time. Rob, are you nervous, Rob? No. Live on HBO, I'm going to be big. I'm going to shock the world. They were going, what is he talking about? He's kind of crazy. But I had to develop more muscle because, me and Janet thing was, ab competition. If you can see on HBO, we always put each other abs. We used to have an ab competition. Who has the better abs? And so that was one of my things. My abs are a little better than Janet. I'm going to be bigger. I'm going to dance because the world's going to see this freestyle, and it's going to be it's going to be worldwide. And that freestyle, because I never choreographed my freestyle. It was always off the top of my head. So I walk on stage, you never knew what I was going to do. So whatever I came up with at that time, the world's going to want to do that freestyle for the rest of their life. So. And
so what did it feel like when you came off stage after Throb? Because, everybody remembers you in the blue Adidas t-shirt with the hat and, again, the beautiful abs that you've got going on. How did you feel when you came off stage? Because, you guys, you and Mike ripped it at the end. And I was like, he must be exhausted.
Well, they gave me an option because, I had to freestyle twice. I had to freestyle the most than anybody. And remember, we were over an hour into the show. And then I had a freestyle. So that whole dance piece, when the whole dance break happens on Throb, mm-hmm. They gave me a spot far stage. Sorry, if you're facing the stage right, they say you have an option either to do the routine or get off stage and take a break and come back on. So they gave me that option. So I had to coach myself to stay on stage. And I was drained. So tired, but beast mode will kick in. It was but it's HBO. It's HBO. It's HBO. That's all you can think about.
Wow.
And so that was my motivation, and motivation with everyone else, their excitement and their energy all blend together. So.
And when it came to Throb, I think we talked about this briefly the last time you were on, but was it fun for you guys as the 8 dancers to sort of do what you wanted to do? Especially I know some people are not comfortable in necessarily or maybe like doing freestyle. Like I think Kelly has said in the past it's not her favorite thing to do, but obviously she did a great job, and I'm sure they were very supportive, like all of you, of one another.
Yeah. They was. I mean, we always offer if they need help with their freestyle or they want to add stuff to what they already have. And that's what made us so great about the group. We just supported one another. If someone got stuck, with Shawnette doing her the Nike's pose and Tina doing her kick out and stuff like that. So we was able to encourage them, don't give up, because most of us was like, the guys, guys like to shine. That's just what we like to do. Sometimes the girls are like, can we just do a routine, but they encourage them to do what you do and whatever you have, just live through that, because we know you guys are not you guys don't freestyle, but this is you guys' moment to show the world that you can do stuff besides just learning choreography.
Well, you guys were all amazing. I love Throb to this day. It's my favorite, especially with the whole Adidas costumes and the sunglasses. It's good times.
Yes, good times. I love it.
Did Janet like doing the freestyle there? Because again, she had a little cutesy one for the HBO special.
Yeah, she loved it. I think she loved it because the guys, we've encouraged, go Janet, go. Work it, girl. So we was, you couldn't see us. That's why you couldn't see us, because they focused on her, because we was back there going, yeah, hit it.
That's awesome. What was it like, having her as a boss, if you will? Because I'm always interested to get people's take about Janet the boss / Janet the friend, because I'm sure she sort of had to play that line a little bit.
Oh, I loved her as a boss. Oh, it was like the first time I see her get someone fired, I was like, I'm scared, because she didn't do. It wasn't like. Reality shows, like, oh my God, it's not that person. She wasn't like that. She was like, you're like, uh-oh. And she says it's, I'll give you an example. I was in Janet's dressing room, and she was having a meeting in there. I think Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was coming in there and stuff like that. And this reporter people came in, and this one lady had this look at this smile, and she was staring. I was like, oh, one lady, Janet, was like, no, everyone stay. And all of a sudden she just sat there, and they started talking to her. She goes, one minute, they go, yes, Janet. She goes, can she leave? I was like, that's nervous. That made me nervous, because the way she did it, it was like, I don't like the lighting. They got to go. Janet, the boss was just straight, we were like, she's a boss lady, because she'll be right next to you, smiling, loving you, and go, can you kick a little higher? You're like, yes, Janet. I can kick higher.
That's awesome. You'll have no problem busting your meniscus for Janet.
I sure wouldn't. I'm going to kick higher. Yeah. Oh, my knee. I need to stretch more next time. I will.
Oh, my God. And when you guys wrapped up the tour, what was it like, Rob, coming off tour? Because, I've talked to several of the other dancers, and they've all basically said the same line, where it was a bit difficult to readjust to real life, especially coming off. Because, that 98 tour, everybody and their grandmother wanted to see that tour. So many celebrities showed up, let alone her fans across the planet. So was it hard to come back to real life?
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I waited. But for me, I went right back on the road with somebody, with another artist, because I couldn't, that 4 months was like, what to do now? I got to do something. And I had a rush. Kept going away. I remember when they called me up, and it's like, this is when Brandy called me up. Their camp called me up, say, Rob, Brandy would like to do her tour. I was like, okay, I gotta go. I couldn't grasp, because I don't know if you know this part, but during this tour, my mom passed away.
No, didn't know that.
Yeah, 1998, my mom passed away, and I was a lot of people's strength, because they was like, man, I don't know, how are you still doing this tour and your mom just passed away? I said, well, Mom always told me, no matter what happens to me, son, finish what you're doing, and then I'm sure you will take care of what you have to take care of later. And that's what happened towards the end of the tour. I started to see a grieving counseling that a lot of people should do, when you deal with grieving, is to see a grieving counselor. And that's what helped me stabilize my feeling, because it was really, really tough and really hard for me, especially, like the end of the tour. You're like, that's all I want to do, I don't want to do nothing else. Rob, Brandy want to do, okay, I'm going to do that, because I had to stay on stage for right now, because I wasn't ready to face that. So for me, the reality part was really hard.
Wow.
Really tough, yeah.
Well, our condolences. I know that's way late, but that's an incredible journey, I guess I would say, to have to go through that. And how was the team? Obviously, I'm sure Janet and them were very supportive of you.
Oh, I mean, I called, it was just one of those rare moments where I sat there and I saw it coming. It's kind of weird to say that, but you're sitting there in it was like the same bed, the same phone. I went in the room going, that doesn't look right, because I've seen this already. Why did I see this? And I laid down and the phone rang, and I got that call. And thank goodness, Shawnette, and Janet was still up. And I called them and told them. They said, "Oh my God, Rob, Mom just died." And they said, come to our room right now. So we all went to Clarendon, Janet's room. And they just let me let it out.
Wow.
They just let me, said, just let him be him. They said, "Rob, do you want to go home?" That I said, no. And the very next day I'm on stage. They looked at me like, is he serious?
Wow.
He is serious. And and ever since that moment, I lived the stage like, so my mom's eyes, I would cry. I would dance and cry. It's like he's dancing full out and crying. Like he's working, but he's also dealing with his emotion at the same time.
You're like those football players that you see whose parents or whatever passes away, and then they got to go play a game on Sunday.
And that's me.
That's crazy. Wow, that's a lot of resolve, Rob. That's amazing.
Yeah.
When it came to the Brandy tour and all that stuff, like did you plan to then continue to dance for years and years to come? Like, was that the goal, or were you just taking it one project at a time?
I think I was just taking one project at a time, because I right after Brandy, even though Brandy will thank me every time we do the show, I don't know why. Because she would introduce the dancer and go, "I don't know why he's on my tour, but Thank you, Rob Vinson, for dancing. You should dance on Dance with Janet Jackson." You're like, why are you doing an interview with me live on stage? Because you're amazing.
She's so cute.
And the same, they was on and on and on and on with all the people I worked with. It was the same thing. Just like, I just wanted to stay on stage. I didn't want to slow down until I did Destiny's Child's tour. After that, I was done. I was like, I'm tired. I gotta. I always dreamed of having a family, and when you're on tour, you're a touch out of reality. So I used to hang out I did it with Janet's tour too. A lot of people don't know this, but I used to hang out with the fans and the audience all the time, but act normal. And remember Destiny's tour, Beyonce would ask the dancers, like, "What did Rob do before the show?" Because the only time we see Rob is when it's time to do the show. They said, "We don't know. We try to look for him too. We don't know what he does." One of the dancers, they finally went out and trying to hunt for me. They didn't know what I did. They thought I went to the mall. They thought I went back to the hotel. So one dancer finally went out on the audience and walked around. He was like, I just walked around. And here I am sitting at a table with a family that only know me eating hot dogs with him. And he comes around and he goes, "Rob." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What are you doing?" "What do you mean?" He said, "Dude, you know these people?" I said, "No." "You're eating food with them." I was like, "Yeah." It was like, I said, "Shh, they don't know who I am, so just be quiet." And I used to do the same thing in the outdoor concert. I used to sit in the grass with families and laugh. And they share their food with me. And we used to sit there and laugh. And I said, "I'll be right back. Be back later after the concert." "Okay, you guys have fun. Okay, bye." I go on stage. They come to me after the concert going, "Well, I didn't tell you was one of the dancers," because you guys would have treated me so differently. So one of the dancers finally found me and told Beyonce, "Rob's with the audience all the time." "Really?" He goes, "He sits way in the back. He hangs with people way in the back in the grassy area. And he lounges in the grass with them with his blanket, with a towel or whatever, and just laugh and giggle with them and watch the shows."
That's so awesome. I'm sure you made so many people happy. That's crazy. Like, just in general, even if they didn't know who you were, that's fantastic. And I'm glad you brought up the fans, because again, I think we may have briefly touched on this, but Janet fans, they're a different breed, are they not?
Oh, they are. They are a completely different breed. Even after all this years, you're like, man, I still feel like I'm in 98 with the fans. You know, like they will remember everything. And they will guarantee that you will remember them, and you will remember. I do remember the fans because I have, you know, hate to say it, but I was really close to this one guy, and one of the guys, and because we were doing the Gen Fam, reconnected with somebody else, and told me that the guy who I had to talk to all the time had moved on, passed away, and I was like, wow, and I had no idea. But she told me to, like, his parents told her to tell everybody, you know, especially Rob, if you ever find Rob, because that's who him and Rob talked all the time.
And with the recent Janet event that you did, the Jan Fam event in August, what was it like sort of being there and part of the festivities, again, with so many other former Janet dancers? Like, it must have been like this big family, and then sort of having an extended family show up who were the fans who wanted to learn the choreography.
Yeah, it was pretty much a Jan reunion / Jan's meeting other Jan choreographers and dancers, because, you know, the only time we saw each other or didn't see each other is when we saw them on stage or they saw us on stage. So, and it was really good to sit around with everybody, especially like with Anthony Thomas and Terry Bixler.
What do you think Janet would think of the event and the fact that, you know, so many of her fans, like, treat you guys just like they would treat her?
Oh, she probably would love it. She probably would love it. I think she loved it. I think she's like, it's amazing that these people are coming together and enjoying the company of the fans just as much as I do, you know.
When was the last time you spoke to Janet? Has it been years and years?
It's been years. The last time I didn't speak to Janet. Last time I ran into Janet was at the amphitheater, and she was doing her number one tour or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting in the audience, and I remember Gil saw me, and Gil was doing a routine. He got excited, but he had he still had a good performance. And he went backstage, and I believe he probably told Janet, and I'm not sure I wasn't sure Jen knew. You know, once again, Jen has that performance pace. You won't know what she's thinking or doing. You're like, what is he doing? And at the end of the concert, she goes, "Thank you, everyone, for coming to the concert," da, da, da. And then she goes, "Wiser." And I was like, ah, like spot, like a little goofball face. So that's the last time I saw her.
What message would you have for her now, especially because, apparently we've got baby number one coming soon?
Baby number one, well, I love my daughter too. If she has a girl, love the girl. But what I would like to say to Janet in that sense is, I don't know, just a big giant hug, and I will say, thank you for being my Eskimo.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, what are you up to these days? Where can fans, find you and make sure they keep up with what you're doing?
I bounce all around. I do a lot of encouraging to other people who try and produce shows and stuff like that. I also teach Zumba Tony. So if you want to find me in my class, you can go to Zumba.com and look up Rob Vinson to find a class near you, or just travel to come check out my class. Pretty much group fitness. I'm into fitness. You can follow me on my social media network and check out what I do here and there. I really don't do that many live performances. It's been a while.
Well, we're happy to get you back out there, and I hope you keep doing more Jan Fam events.
Yes, I love doing Jan Fam.
That's awesome. Well, I send you a big hug, and I want to thank you so much for doing this, Rob. You've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for having me.
That is dancer Rob Vinson. Again, make sure to follow him on his Instagram account at Rob with 5 R's, OB2.